we are live, officially live. I got all you guys on one side of the screen today. I'm trying a different format here. I feel like if I keep you guys over here, it'll just look nicer. It'll be easier for people to follow. We're missing one person, but for those who are already in the chat, thank you for joining in. What's going on, Zuplex and Scythe? One shot will be here soon. Zuplex, if anyone hasn't paying attention, didn't have a logo, and now you can see it. Nice, pretty little logo in full effect.
Go, baby. Let's go.
It's a good drawing of you, to be honest. I like purple as the color too.
I see too many muscles, to be honest.
Hey, it's no different than the captain's logo. The captain's logo's got too many muscles too.
Right.
So. Meanwhile, in real life, he's 5'2".
Yeah. Buttersworth, welcome. Thanks for jumping in. Let me know if you can hear everybody okay. Always count on Buttersworth to jump in.
Yep.
So Buttersworth, today we're not talking about anything. We're not talking about a lot. I know you want to talk about WrestleMania, but I didn't watch it. I can't add anything to that conversation. So we were just talking about doing a separate stream, something different, but with everyone else who's kind of more interesting than I am. I really want to get into it, but I can't commit the amount of hours that you need to commit to be a wrestling fan anymore. I've thought for a long time now, 3-hour shows and 2-hour shows are just way too long.
Just pick up wherever. Oh.
I mean, I do keep up with it. You know what I mean? I see the highlights all over TikTok and the different socials. I read about kind of what's going on a little bit, but not at a level where I could actually, contribute to a good conversation about what just happened.
I will say this without having to get into it too much, that if you haven't watched WrestleMania this year, go and watch both nights. It's probably the better WrestleMania that we've gotten in the last 5 years.
Wow, that's saying something.
I only watched the first night, and it was more enjoyable than the last few years, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I mean, from everything I've watched, the best thing I've seen was the really, really bad Stone Cold Stunner that Steve Austin did to Vince McMahon at the end. I guess that was the end of the second night of Sunday.
Yeah.
We got to remember.
I saw the clips of it. I didn't see it live.
When you guys...
It was pretty brutal. Not going to lie.
It was basically, I'm not going to put the video up here. Maybe I'll do it when I put the replay on YouTube. But it's basically McMahon, I guess, was trying to amplify the, how painful it looked. So he started fumbling around in the ring, which caused Steve Austin to basically miss him. and Steve Austin's laughing. Like, yeah, I don't know what happened. Buttersworth,
you know who had a great stunner?
Who?
Pat
McAfee. He sold the shit out of that stunner.
Oh, man. I did see that one too, where he jumped up like 10 feet in the air.
Yeah, the beer spitting out his mouth as he's falling. Right now,
great.
McAfee, he had a match against Austin Theory. I know we said we weren't going to talk.
Well, we could talk a little bit. We could talk a little bit.
He had a match against Austin Theory, and he looked great. He did a box jump to the top rope and the superplex off the top rope.
That's what I was hearing. He looked good. Insane.
I tell you what,
he looked really good.
Not to get too much into it, but I kind of agree. We talked about it in the chat, and I agree with Steve. The who looked a lot better than I expected? Jake Paul.
Logan. That was Logan.
Oh, Logan Paul. Was it Logan Paul? Yeah, I can't tell him apart.
He looked great.
Yeah, but he looked okay. He looked like he knew how to move. He looked like he did the training.
I'll tell you what he did.
He looked like he actually took the match serious. Like he actually trained for it. He learned how to take a bump.
Right.
Like, he was doing everything. He was he didn't look polished, but he looked like he understood the basics. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is a couple misses here and there, but I'll tell you right now though, he sold being a heel because he's a natural heel anyway.
That's what he does in real life. His whole career is being a heel.
At one point, he hit Rey Mysterio with the Three Amigos, which is a long time Eddie Guerrero move. Climbed the top rope and did the Eddie shimmy.
Yeah, I saw that.
The crowd was just all over him. Just wanted to kill this guy.
See, that's the kind of thing that I can't add to the conversation because I had no idea those were Eddie Guerrero moves. I thought it was like a good sequence of events, but it never connected to Eddie Guerrero for me. And I know Eddie Guerrero, but I really know him more from WCW. Buttersworth said that that sell of the stunner was one of the best that he's seen since The Rock, which is saying something because The Rock could sell the shit out of those moves.
It was a great sell. Yep.
I mean, there's a lot.
Unlike
I know there was a
McMahon.
lot going on. Undertaker retiring. There was a ton to go over. This is one of the reasons why I don't want to like focus on it, because it's just going to be a 9-hour stream.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Especially if we're going to talk about Halo and Moon Knight. So
what was it? 4 hours for 2 straight nights? Like it's
at
a lot of
least,
content.
yeah.
Almost,
I think.
yeah.
Well, I think
Like
isn't
4
it?
and then 3.5.
But isn't it? That's only what's televised. Isn't there more that's not televised that goes on?
Oh, the WrestleMania, they pretty much televised.
There's like the pre-show and stuff like that.
The pre-show.
Even the pre-show they televised, but there was no matches this year because they split it up into 2 nights.
Benny 2755 says nice icon Zuplex City. So you're getting good traction.
Oh yeah.
So
it's a good one.
I figured
Before also,
oh, go ahead.
Real quick, if you haven't watched the Undertaker's Hall of Fame speech, it's like 40 minutes long. But if you're a real wrestling fan, you will enjoy the absolute shit out of it.
I gotta look that up. I saw clips, but I didn't watch the whole speech.
The whole speech, like he's let him pretty much, because usually the Hall of Fame is limited to like 5-10 minutes. The main guy, whoever the main person they're inducting is,
Right.
Limited to like 5-10 minutes. He let him go on for 40 minutes. He had a headset on. He was walking around like it was a TED Talk. But it was really cool to see the Undertaker do that. So
welcome, One Shot. I know you don't have your headphones on yet, but welcome to the stream.
he is.
I hope the kid's okay. Uh-oh, I can't hear you. You're muted on Discord.
You're still muted.
You gotta unmute. See, if there's no audio problems, that's much better. If there's no audio problems, then it's not a Theater Room podcast. That's basically what goes on now.
Always something.
That's why we're a train wreck.
Yeah. But the train wreck is fun, I think. The train wreck is fun. I'm waiting for Lon Wolf to jump into the chat. So before we get into the reviews, the focus of today's podcast was going to be, I want to talk about Halo Episode 2 and Moon Knight Episode 1. Those are the big releases right now. There are a couple of other things just going on in the entertainment world. ScytheX and I were talking earlier today about Thor Love and Thunder. Keep an eye out. The rumors right now are saying that the first trailer is going to drop maybe Monday. Probably next week. They started the rounds for the marketing now, so this is always kind of when we start getting our first footage.
The marketing started, and
we're only like 90 days out. We're not that far out.
96 days. I think I saw.
Yeah.
They started, the press tour, and they all were holding up numbers in their picture.
I saw that. Yeah.
The numbers, was a date, and people were like, "Oh, the trailer's coming in November," and blah blah blah. But the international date ended up being this Monday.
Right.
If you go by the way they do it, so that's the running theory that we're getting the trailer Monday.
That kind of fits the trend too with Marvel as a whole right now. Marvel, especially obviously No Way Home, we didn't get a trailer until 45 days before the movie came out. Like they're kind of cutting it as closer and closer to the actual release as they can. So I feel like that's just going to kind of be how we live for a while. We're going to have to just wait until the last minute to see anything.
Again, I was thinking we were going to get
home.
Right. Doctor Strange. That's true. Our first footage for Doctor Strange was at the end of No Way Home. So I kind of thought that was going to be the same thing. We weren't going to see Thor: Love and Thunder until the end of Doctor Strange. But all the rumors point to we get it earlier.
We might do. I hope they continue that trend because I absolutely love it.
I think I prefer that as the end credit scene. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like the end credit scenes for the Marvel movies. I've always stayed for them. But if I'm going to get a trailer for the next movie, an actual trailer, at the end, to me, that's a much cooler much cooler reward for staying to the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But
if we are getting a teaser Monday, we could get the official trailer with what's the name, Doctor Strange.
Right. Maybe that's how they do it. They do the teaser released on a random day, and then the actual trailer comes out with the movie. That's possible.
Which I don't know. Why do they call them teasers when they end up being like 2.5 minutes long anyway?
Well, it's funny because a teaser used to be a 25-second to 30-second clip,
like a TV
trailer,
spot, right?
Yeah, it was always very quick. It maybe showed you an image of every person in the movie, and that was it. But now the teasers are a minute and 75 seconds, and then the full trailer is 4 minutes.
Right.
The good thing about Marvel, though, they've generally kept us from showing too much. They've gotten a lot better at showing so much from the trailers that they kind of ruin the movie.
They've mastered putting fake trailers out there.
That's the thing. I guess they can show us whatever they want in the trailer because most of it's fake anyway. We're not going to see it.
Yeah.
Because like every trailer that they've ever put out, there's always either something missing out of a shot, something they added into the shot to make you think that something was going to happen that doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. No? Buttersworth said it's just to tickle your wedding tackle. I like that. I like that phrase. One other announcement was if anyone who doesn't know, if you're a big Star Wars fan like I am, Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga came out today, technically. I played the first few levels last night at like midnight. And it's just everything you thought it would be. It's not a hard game, but if you're a Star Wars fan, it's just jam-packed with Easter eggs and
Lego
tons of things to
are
collect.
So much fun, bro.
They're incredibly fun, I feel like. I feel like they're, the first thought is that they're kids games, but they're really not.
Yeah, the Marvel like Avengers superhero one. I played 1 and 2 of that, and it was just so much fun.
Fantastic. If you're a fan of the property, then it's worth
silly.
playing.
They're silly games, and their stories are fully fleshed out. They're good.
Hell yeah. And I think unless you guys have any other announcements, go ahead.
Yeah. MLB The Show is out today, and if you have Xbox, you can download it on Game Pass. It is available.
Oh, free.
Well, there's another slap in the face to the new Sony announcements for their online service.
Trash Spartacus.
I was so excited when they named it Spartacus. What's up, Zoop?
But yet again, that Xbox is superior.
Yeah,
facts.
In just
Only
Game
when
Pass.
It involves Game Pass.
See, but I don't take it as it makes it superior. I take it as Microsoft is so desperate for people that they're giving away games for free.
Yeah, but who benefits that? People who have Xbox.
We do. Well, but not even people who have Xbox. If you have a computer or if you just have a phone now, you can play a lot of that stuff.
Right, but you have to have something Microsoft to enjoy it. Yeah,
that's true.
Because
I was playing it on my phone with
Sony
my
makes
backbone.
MLB The Show, and we still got to pay $70 for it. It makes zero sense.
that is a pretty. Whoever came up with that agreement between Microsoft and Sony is a genius. That person needs to be promoted and just start handling the decisions from now on because they made. I don't know how they made that deal, but
yeah.
Eventually, what I think is going to happen with Xbox, especially, is they're gonna.
Yeah, but you got to go by yourself.
It's only going to be up there for limited times. Then you're gonna have to go and buy the game if you want to keep playing it and stuff like that. And
yeah, maybe
how they entice people.
That's the one thing I think.
Like a game like MLB, you're gonna play that for like the first couple months because you're excited for baseball, and then Madden comes out, and then people are gonna all gravitate to Madden, and then all the other fall games start coming out, and so the time releases work.
No, they definitely do. And I will say that big thing that's going to be coming with all these EA games is the next FIFA is going to be cross-platform. They're saying the next Madden's going to be cross-platform.
It's about time.
Hopefully we get,
it's about time.
Yeah. Yep. And hopefully we get NHL and the show all cross-platform because then, I just think it opens up a world of options for us with sports games now.
Yeah, 100%.
Biggest problem with sports games has been that a lot of friends that play PlayStation. I got a lot of friends that play only Xbox. So it's like you can only play with a certain amount of people. So if you want to do these cool modes like franchise mode, everybody drafts a team and stuff like that, like especially like Madden. It's difficult to do because you have a limited amount of guys that you can get in there. Situation if they start doing this cross-platform thing, then opens up a whole new way of playing all these sports games that I think are going to be way more entertaining.
They're way behind the ball. These games should have been cross-play a long time ago, but greed is greed, right?
Yeah.
Buttersworth says, "Listen, I'm broke and I love Game Pass." I don't. There's no argument there.
I love Game Pass.
Listen, Scythe and I we love PlayStation. We'll fight to the death that PlayStation is the best system. However, we both agree we love Game Pass. You can't not love it. It's just too good of a deal.
You guys are in denial.
No, I just don't want to buy a shit system.
I'm being in denial at all.
As John would say, I like my single player story games.
Yeah. That's all PlayStation's good for.
Why wouldn't I want to play Spider-Man, Wolverine?
Right. Or God of War.
Yeah, like why wouldn't I want to play these games?
Uncharted, Last of Us. Yeah, Horizon. I mean,
I enjoy Horizon more than Zelda. Shoot
Right.
me, hot take. These games are enjoyable. I don't know, and if it's a game that, and if it's a game that you can play on any system, why do I need an Xbox to play it when I can have all those other games and still play the same game that you're playing? So
right. See. Anyway, that's a whole different conversation. It's a whole different conversation. All right, let's get into some of the meat and potatoes here. Should we do Moon Knight first or Halo? I was leaning towards Halo. Did you guys all watch?
We'll end on a positive note. We don't want to end on a negative
one. Wrong image. I will say, I know for a fact that One Shot watched it this week.
As soon as I watched it, I'm like, Steve's head exploded. As soon as I watched that episode, I'm like, his head exploded.
What's funny? Unfortunately, the footage of us watching the episode, I fucked up. That's my mistake. I blame Mac for it. But anyway, the footage of it went away, and I could tell you though that leading up before we hit play, I was saying to Steve that as long as he doesn't keep his helmet off for the entire episode, I think I can deal with him taking it off here and there. And then the very first shot is just him without his helmet on, and we were both just like, "Oh, fuck us then. What do we know?"
And we're fucked.
The whole episode. So listen,
not only him, but the rest of the Spartans.
Right.
It was like the whole group had no helmet. I'm like,
it made it even better that they went into taking his armor all the way off.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? I would have been able to kind of deal with it and look past it if he kept his armor on the whole time, but instead he walked around in what looked like a Mass Effect spacesuit. It just so this episode overall, just to start it off, to me was a lot slower, a lot kind of cheesier. I felt like you could almost feel that it was a low budget. Like nothing really looked that great compared to the first episode that I was kind of blown away by how good it looked. So I don't know.
I kind of figured that because they went crazy with the budget on the first episode that we needed kind of like a budget saver episode to reel us back in.
I think we're going to get a few of them. Yeah. Unfortunately, I think we're going to get a few of them. The sets looked like they were made out of paper mache.
Yeah.
Taking like him not wearing a helmet at all. What he had it on for like 12 seconds while he walked out of the
at the very end
into the area or whatever.
At the very end, just to go back to the place he ran from. That's like my feeling. I said this to Steve at the end of the episode. I'm like, I don't really get what the point of the episode was. He went to his friend who he wasn't really his friend, but he kind of was his friend, to just go back to the UNSC. Like it just, what did he learn really? You know, besides the fact that maybe he was brainwashed.
Quote unquote trusted them.
He didn't learn shit.
I had
that blew away his whole theory on he took his helmet off so she would trust him.
Right, because he kept his helmet off the entire time.
Fucking gone.
And he left her behind anyway.
Right.
Well,
so
he left her in a safe place.
Yeah, but now, like, think about it. Like the whole thing we thought that they were doing was this like Mandalorian with Grogu, Lone Wolf and Cub type of thing. He's just like, just stay here. I've got this. Blah blah blah. Like, it's.
See, like my thing is, so we already didn't really need the human character, like it's just, or Kwahan, whatever her name is. We didn't really need her in the show. I don't really feel like anyone wants to focus on somebody that wasn't from the games. So it was already kind of iffy that she was such a focus on the first episode. Then to just go to the second episode and have him leave her there tells me that we're now going forward going to see two separate stories, one focused on him, one focused on her, that'll probably diverge towards the end of the season. But nobody, and I think I can say this pretty confidently, nobody cares about her. I don't want to see her. I want to follow him. I want to follow his whole journey. You know, he's the main character. We don't need this human character who needs to be explained things. So I wasn't a huge fan of the episode. It was a big letdown. I loved the first episode. Good.
Disagree with you slightly here. If you keep his helmet on, make him this unfeeling, emotionless murder machine, space marine guy, and you need the human counterpart kind of give us some sort of emotional feeling, emotional this, some sort of link to humanizing him. You killed all that because you humanized him in the first episode.
Right.
Now the second episode is all him being like, "You left me. My arm got blown off," and blah 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 blah, and like we were boys, and now we're not boys, and just like so now that human element that we would have needed if you did Master Chief the right way,
right?
You don't need her.
100%.
Now it seems the whole thing seems pointless.
100%. I agree with that. With that. I had this whole argument with my friend of mine. I have a buddy who's a big Halo fan. He's played the games. He's read the books, the whole nine. He's big into the lore. And he doesn't care that he took his helmet off. And all I kept saying to him, though, was that it didn't have to be the whole season. If they didn't want to go The Mandalorian and have it on the entire season, fine. But there should have been a couple of episodes, 2 or 3 episodes, where we see visual proof that he's all about the mission. We see him maybe do things that are considered despicable, or maybe see that he's not the greatest guy because the mission matters more than anything else. And then the moment where he disobeys an order or takes his helmet off would just be that much more impactful. And instead they blew their load on episode 1. Broke both, I think, in the budget, both in the action, in the visuals, the whole 9. And I kind of agree. I feel like we're going to be stuck with a slog of slow episodes of exposition and just random information, you know. So
they
I wasn't
just like forget the girl. They should have just had us earn the right to see him without his helmet.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Were you gonna say one shot?
I wasn't gonna say shit.
I thought you said something until you jumped in.
No. Hey, you guys are hitting valid points. Like I don't have to really say much.
Buttersworth says,
talking, so I apologize.
That's right. Buttersworth says, expect the next few episodes to be like this. Things will pick up after episode 5. So I think there's only 8 episodes.
Jesus,
what is it? 9 episodes, right?
8 or 9, yeah. It's not super long. I mean, that's a standard.
When I looked it up, it was 9 episodes. So you figure episode, probably pacing wise, episode like 7, you'll start to pick up.
I mean, they do need more action. You know, it's an action game.
I think we'll get more next episode, but like towards the tail end, and then maybe ramp it up in the following one.
I do think
almost guaranteed that we get one episode with no Master Chief in it.
Yeah, it's gonna be all about Kwa-Han, and like, you know, she's got a long way to go if I'm gonna care about her. Is it Quan or Kwa-Han?
It's Quan.
Is it Quan? Isn't it Quan Ha then, or something like that?
Kwa-Han. Ha.
Quan Ha, or it's something like that. It's not one name. We all know I'm not good with names, though.
Trying to get Cortana off the ground.
Yeah.
To the aliens with the chick that's like, he could do what I do.
Yeah.
Like, The other problem with the show so far has been that like mystery elements that they're trying to give us, like these big like, she was like, he could do what I can do. We were supposed to be like, oh my god, and it's just like, no one cares.
Yeah, who gives a shit?
When no one cares, they didn't earn that yet. Like,
so funny story about episode 2. I read that woman that's like, you know, living with the Covenant was played by, or a character living with the Covenant, I should say, was played by Charlie Murphy. And I forgot that Charlie Murphy died. So I thought that Charlie Murphy was maybe one of the aliens, and I'm like waiting to hear his voice or something. And I'm saying to Steve, like, this guy doesn't sound like Charlie Murphy. I thought it was like that you know, the main Covenant
Charlie
soldier.
Murphy.
But then he's like, dude, Charlie Murphy's dead. And I was like, what? So then I look it up, and her name is Charlotte Murphy, or no, her nickname is Charlie Murphy basically. And when I read it, I just immediately went to Charlie Murphy. Like, you know, who wouldn't? You know what I mean? But I forgot that he passed away, so I'm sitting here looking for him in the episode the whole time. Maybe that ruined the whole episode for me too.
I could just see him now in a Dave Chappelle skit of him meeting Master Chief for the first time.
Yeah, that would be a phenomenal skit, man.
Charlie Murphy.
Charlie Murphy.
The Chief on Charlie Murphy.
The deep side note: if you guys saw the deep fake with Charlie Murphy, when he gets slapped by what's his name?
Yeah, Will Smith and Chris Rock.
Yeah, that
was a great deep fake.
I think that won all of the jokes about the slap heard around the world.
I did.
So
I
like
the one with the friends characters, Joey and Ross, when he's like they're drinking the drink, and Joey's like, "Oh, this sucks," and Ross is enjoying, and then he looks at him, and he's like, "Oh, no, it's no good."
There's a lot of good stuff out there. So yeah, I guess the overall consensus is that Halo episode 2 was a trash fire, and
I didn't hate it honestly, but
well, I say trash fire because it's compared to episode 1.
Be, a lower tier episode.
I still hate
after
it.
that first.
Yeah,
I still say if you don't know anything about the show, it's a phenomenal show for you. It will be a phenomenal series if you know nothing about Halo. But if you know anything about it, you're just gonna be pissed off 90% of the time.
I don't know if I'd even go that far, Steve, because like nothing in episode 2 made me excited for episode 3.
I think that same feeling that I have.
Exactly.
I mean, like
that's what I'm saying. Well,
I was like I can't wait till next week. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I know. Like, admittedly, like I've played
They didn't
Halo.
tease anything. They teased Cortana, but they didn't really tease anything else.
Admittedly, like I've played Halo. I've played Halo probably up until about Halo 3, and but I never delved deep into the lore or the books or anything like that. A decent cursory knowledge of it.
Yeah.
No part of the show makes me want to come back every week and be like, I can't wait till Halo. I'm not like all these other shows that come out that we've talked about on here. Even Book of Boba Fett. Like, as much as like Book of Boba Fett, we were sitting there like, oh god, like this again. Like, still knew something was going to happen down the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This show, I'm just like, like I don't know if I care that much. Like,
see, well, hold on. Before I say this comment, Buttersworth, he just said that he's actually turned on that One Shot has been keeping up with these shows. So you have a fan. You have a fan.
We're all very proud of him. We're all very proud of him.
But so Zuplex, to your point though, that's actually a really good point because you're right. Even with Book of Boba Fett, how slow that was. I still never thought to myself, am I really going to watch this next episode? I always was tuning in no matter what. With Halo, I mean, I'm going to watch, but I could see after episode 2, I can already see myself saying by like episode 4, like, is it even worth it? I don't even know. Unless they do show us something nice, you know what I mean?
I mean, they definitely need to redeem us in episode 3. Otherwise,
yeah,
I don't think it's going to happen.
Like,
it might so? Not. It might not happen.
I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's going to be a slow episode, and we're just going to be disappointed again.
I mean, you are the ultimate pessimist, but I kind of agree with you on this. You know what I mean? Like, if they,
I think we're going to get a tease of something at the end of the third one, but the rest of the episode. Yeah, I agree. I'm just saying, like, we're not going to get. It's going to be a slow episode, like you guys are saying, but I think we're going to get a snippet of like something that's going to continue for episode 4.
I mean, I guess it'll be worth it if what they tease us with, even if it's a slow exposition heavy episode, is something that we're excited to see from the games. Like if they tease maybe Cortana being a full blown blue creature like an Avatar, or they tease the Halo ring. But if they just spend an entire episode of him talking to that doctor while she looks at him like she wants to bang him,
yeah,
I don't know if I'm going to be too excited about it, to be honest.
That's kind of what I'm getting at here is that like they tried to tease us in the second episode, right?
A little bit, yeah.
The chick with the Covenant being like, oh, he could do what I could do, and then they were like, I got to go back to the USMS, and you got to look at different space colony and stuff like that. So they're like trying to expand the universe. And those were their teases, and none of them really hit, and we were all just still kind of left being like, guess, like I guess I'll tune in next week. Mm-hmm. The issue that they're going to run into is that like guys like us, we're going to tune in, we're going to watch it. We're going to probably hate watch it by the end of it. Just to finish it because we're
kind of like Walking Dead or True Blood and just force ourselves to watch.
Like, you're just going to watch it so you can say that you finished watching it. Two people coming in, right? See that second episode, they're never watching Halo again. Like your regular Joe that's just like wants something to watch, wants a new show to watch. He gets to that second episode, he's like, I'm not watching this next week.
See, I don't know.
Whatever.
See that I don't know if I agree with. I think that if you're so not a fan of Halo that you're just tuning in because it's like a sci-fi show, you'll probably stick with it.
I think we don't like it because we know the games enough. Even if we're not giant fans, we know the games enough to know that that is not what we would want to see on screen. But I could be wrong. I mean, you could be right. I could be wrong. You know, who knows? It's an experiment, I guess.
I think it's a much. If episode 4 or 5, this doesn't pick up and start getting like really good,
right?
Almost guarantee that there won't be a season 2.
I kind of agree with you there, especially with the amount of money they're spending on the show. I think for me the major issue is that they're trying to. Like again, this human character is detracting from what we'd want to see. The whole backstory for Master Chief and his like betrayal or being, I guess, kidnapped as a kid and trained and whatever, brainwashed, like that should be the main focus of the show. They should just be giving us little bits and pieces about that instead of splitting it with this character that nobody asked for. It's the same issue with the Mortal Kombat movie. You give us a character that nobody asked for.
Of Halo,
100%, 100%. Not one person, anyone who knows Halo.
As much.
Of course, you don't hate her as much because she doesn't take her helmet off the whole time. If she had a helmet though and took it off, I think you'd hate her more than Master Chief.
I will tell you this too. Like, I think they made a big misstep in the first episode. They killed off that entire settlement camp. Is you could have done.
Excuse me.
Could have almost left Master Chief as like a background character. Comes in, saves the day, or comes in and wrecks shit, and keep these like settlement groups, their stories going. Right? And keep Master Chief as like, the I want to say big bad, but also as like
but just like the legend. You know what I mean?
The legend, yeah.
It's
the legend of him going a little bit.
It's the same thing. I've been saying this about Darth Vader too. It's the same thing. Like he doesn't need to be the main character. What made him like so intimidating was the fact that we didn't know much about him. It's the same thing with Master Chief. Same thing with Darth Vader. Same thing with Boba Fett. Even, you know, once you start giving us that backstory, you know, the Dark Knight Joker. One of the best things about him is that nobody knows what his origin was, and we don't need it.
Exactly.
We don't need to know that. Let that be this like mystery that just makes him seem larger than life. You know, that's kind of the same thing. Like, if they're going to give us a new character, the whole show should have been focused on that new character with Master Chief as a background character who jumps in and gives us some cool ass moments that maybe are ripped from the game. You know, I feel like
at least you do that for the first half of the season, and then you start like going towards Master Chief, and then you have an episode of like his background and like how he was cloned. And,
Like Scythe said, let us earn this, like seeing him without the helmet. 100%.
Earn the reveal,
100%. Make us want that. You know, you didn't make us want it. You gave us 40 minutes of him kicking ass and being Master Chief, and then suddenly he was like, "Oh, well, you know, you won't trust me, so let me take my helmet off." And then he's, you know, I guess the new Wolverine, which, you know, Buttersworth says, "Say it." The series is starting to make Master Chief soft, SAWFT, which I like that spelling. There, I said it for you. They are making him soft. I mean, we haven't, you know, he did kick some ass, but if we're being honest, his team kicked more ass than he did in the first episode. Well, I shouldn't say that. He did have some good moments. That's just me being a hater, taking a page out of Steve's book.
Like we all talked about it. That first half of that episode last week was amazing. You know, now I feel like it's a huge step back this week because there's nothing.
Yeah, and I understand that they need to slow down a little bit. They gave us a ton of action in the first episode, spent a lot of money. They need to kind of, you know, give us some story to follow. But, you know, I feel like this isn't the kind of show that can survive a lot of episodes without a good action scene. So we should get at least one.
They're not really giving us any story to follow either.
Well, yeah, again, it was a whole episode of him going, "Oh, I feel weird. Let me go back to the people that I just ran from."
Yeah.
Let me go back to the Wish version of Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
The whole episode of them trying to give us a backstory with this unknown character that I don't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember his name either now. All I know is he had an effed up arm.
Yeah.
I think he was 60. He was 66.
And that's who the actor is.
66, yeah.
Right, he was given a number. We're going with Stormtrooper IDs now.
That's the other thing too is like they constantly name Master Chief.
Right.
They call him John.
That's all they call him. John or 117.
Why are we calling him a name? Just keep him by the number.
But see, like, so again, I'm not. My friend Brian, he made a good point. It's like in the games, we see him in action at all times. We don't see him really dealing with the brass, so to speak. So, like, yeah, when he's dealing with the higher ups, maybe he takes the helmet off. Maybe they call him John, whatever it is. But that shouldn't be 90% of what we see. We should see more of him in the helmet, in action. You know, being this soldier, this unstoppable force, and then you can give us that 10% of him, you know, being human. It probably wouldn't hurt as bad, you know. But to switch it and flip it, it's not worth it.
But here's the thing, right? And this is what makes no sense to me. You have an army of emotionless, unfeeling killing machines with numbers on their chests, or clones, or whatever the backstory is with them, right? And you give them names,
right? That kind of goes against what you're trying to do.
You know of is giving them names. Not they're calling them by their number and they're keeping it as is.
No, that's true.
But like within their own lore, they don't make any sense.
No, that's a good point. It kind of goes against what they're trying to do with this army. So if you keep him at 117, you keep him not human. You know.
They keep saying like, "How is he out of control?" and blah blah blah, and John's this and John's that. It's like, why are you calling him John?
Maybe it's because Dr. Steamy Eyes keeps giving him the come over here and take these pants off.
Steamy Eyes.
I don't remember her name. Halsey, Dr. Halsey. I'm not good with names.
It's a big miss for me. I wanted it to be good. Just like every week, I'm not excited to watch next week. I'm gonna watch next week, but I'm just like,
I mean, they can make up for it.
Don't give me something next week. Like,
I'm gonna be very disappointed while I watch next week.
Yeah, keep an eye out on TikTok and Instagram because this time I'm gonna have it on camera. I'll be zooming in on his face while he's just like.
It's a lot of just.
Super Nintendo says her name is Dr. Good and Sexy. I'll take that name. It's better than Dr. Halsey. So let's see. I'd say I'd give episode 1 of Halo like an 8 out of 10, and then episode 2 of Halo is like a 4 out of 10.
Episode 1 for me is 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree with the 6 out of 10.
Again, though, you guys are bigger fans. For me, I wanted to see some good action. I wanted everything to look good. So
episode 1 for me was, I'll give the first half of episode 1 an 8 out of 10. Then like the whole second half of it just made no sense whatsoever.
I mean, the taking the helmet off really screwed with you guys.
Not even just the taking the helmet off. It's like as soon as he touches that artifact, like kidnaps the girl, and he's like trying to like it lost me completely. Like
he did kidnap her. If we're being honest, we got a little Stockholm syndrome going on here. He did kidnap her. Now she was like, wait, you're gonna leave me here?
But that's the other thing too, is like he kidnapped her to get answers about the artifact. They were like, kill her, and instead of him being like, listen, we have this artifact, need answers, she has the answers, he's like, I'm gonna take my helmet off. Like,
see, at least it would have made sense if he removed the helmet specifically so they couldn't track him. At least that would have been like an actual reason for the helmet to come off. But again, it was pointless because he puts the helmet on and they can't track him until he turns on a switch, which is so funny to me because to your point about it not making sense in the show, at the end of episode 1, he's frantically messing with wires. She's got to pull something from the panel while he pulls something else, flicking switches, all kinds of stuff. And they're looking at thermal readings. They're looking at like other kinds of scans. They can see them in detail. They know what he's feeling. And then at the end of episode 2, he puts the helmet on, full armor, turns his ship on, flies out into space, and they're like, "Yeah, we can't find shit." And then he flicks a little switch.
We don't know where he went.
And suddenly they're like, "We got
our instruments don't work anymore."
Like, it's just a good point.
Beacons online.
Shit, Master Chief's shift just turned back on.
Yeah, and that actually, as you know, one of the best parts of the last of the Force Awakens was when they fly the Millennium Falcon out into space, and then immediately Han Solo finds the ship. Like, it's kind of a similar thing. Like, out of nowhere, you happen to be in all of the universe. You were close enough to be like, wait, I'll be there in 30 seconds. Don't move. I got you. Like, it's the same kind of nonsense. But all right. So obviously, if you don't get it, we didn't like Halo 2.
We don't know how space travel works.
But we don't. We don't. But I'll take it. But now, this is the one that everyone wants to talk about. I think Moon Knight. episode 1 of Moon Knight came out. Again, this time I have it on video. I could prove one shot. Congratulations, buddy. That's 3 things in a row that you watched and you kept up with. So this time, a couple of parts of the weird warped minds and whiskey reactions on TikTok is up on TikTok now. It's on Instagram. It's going to be going up on YouTube Shorts pretty soon too. And so we watched episode 1. What'd you guys think? One shot. Let's start with you since you finally actually watched something Marvel related.
Well, I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't watch it. No, I enjoyed the shit out of it actually.
What about everyone else? I enjoyed it too. I thought it was freaking phenomenal.
I liked it. I had a couple issues with it.
Well, so before we get into the issues,
so how I felt about it, or would you?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This guy.
I apologize. Look, I zoomed in on you. I gave you the close up. Go ahead. It's your moment to shine.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I think music is amazing. And I don't think they gave us a lot to go on in the first episode, but that's on purpose, which is probably...
Yeah, I agree. Now, before we get into Scythe, what your complaints are, if you can even call them complaints, Zuplex, are you familiar with the character from the comics?
Yes, yeah.
See, so for me, I don't know him from the comics. I'm not...
Listen.
Most people don't.
Yeah, that's
we
not
had
a character.
This conversation while watching the video.
I don't think I've ever even read a comic with Moon Knight in it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how little I know of him. I know a little bit because I've looked it up getting ready for the show, but that was it.
I feel like I've seen him before, but I know nothing of his backstory or anything.
I'll give you guys a quick backstory for all the listeners out there. So the original version of like Moon Knight was more of like Marvel's version of Batman.
Okay.
He was a guy, like there's been many, many different versions of Moon Knight throughout the years. First appeared in Werewolf by Night number 32. He's Mark Spector. He's a wealthy guy that fights crime at night, wears the white cape and everything like that. Those moon-shaped batarangs, crescent moon-shaped batarangs at people. He was killed and given powers by an Egyptian god. And depending on the phase of the moon is on how strong he actually is. So he does appear in more of the otherworldly type of Marvel comics with your Blades, your Werewolf by Night, your Draculas, that type of stuff. So he's more on that side of Marvel. Most recent versions of Moon Knight has brought in this they call it multiple personality disorder, dissociative disorder.
Right.
And still, the more recent versions of the books are actually, I've read them. Like, I really like them because you don't know going through it if he's really possessed by Egyptian gods or he's just insane.
Right.
Which is a fun way of like.
Well, I guess so. They're clearly borrowing from the more recent stuff for the show. Real quick, Buttersworth said he's familiar with the original comic book run, and Super Nintendo said he's one of his favorites. He really wet his panties when they announced the show. I don't blame you. I think after episode 1, I'm a fan. I'm gonna go look for some comics. I'm gonna go read. I was a big fan of this episode. I really enjoyed. Really, I don't have a lot of complaints. I enjoyed almost all of it. So, Scythe, I gotta give the mic to you. What didn't you like about it?
I didn't like that we saw 0 of his blackouts. That bothered the hell out of me. Not even like a snippet of one. We didn't see a damn thing. And the biggest thing, which was an immediate turn off of the whole episode, was his stupid Venom voice. I didn't need to hear it. I did not need to hear it one bit. I hate it with a passion. His Venom voice ruined that episode.
So,
I couldn't stand it. If that's what I'm hearing the whole series, it's This is a very medium style show for me.
Steve can
right off the bat.
He can attest that I brought up the Venom voice a couple of times, and as we all know, I'm not a fan of the new Venom and that silly dynamic he has. It wasn't the worst, but it did sound a lot like Venom in the show.
It was. Oh, we have the idiot talking now. Like, shut up, dude. I don't need to hear any of that dumb shit. Like, I hated it, bro. Hated it.
So it didn't ruin the show for me, obviously. But
didn't ruin the show for me.
But I get what you're saying though, because the fact that it reminded me of Venom, even the whole scene with him when he's holding that scarab and he's like his arms are moving on their own was very much similar to Tom Hardy's acting in the Venom movies. The only good thing about the Venom movies is Tom Hardy, so that part of it doesn't piss me off. The voice reminded me of Venom a few times, and I was like, oh man, like I don't want to hear that, you know.
Nope.
And then with the blackouts, you know, when we were watching it, we talked about it too. It was frustrating that they kept cutting away, but they clearly did that on purpose, and I really think
I can understand why.
Yeah, and now that they've revealed
that reveal for the end,
exactly. And now that they revealed him, we'll get more of the actual action, I believe.
Kind of like a helmet, kind of like the helmet coming off.
I'll tell you what this was.
Don't even compare this to that shit.
It's a smart way to save money by giving a story instead of on your load in the first episode.
Yeah, Marvel's got the money. They have no excuse.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Yeah, but I would rather them save that and give us like a friggin' baller ass finale or a baller couple of episodes.
I would have liked it if like every blackout we saw a snippet more of what's happening. Not just straight like, oh, I'm back, and then everyone's dead around me.
Well, I mean, this is the storytelling device that they're planning to use for this dissociative disorder.
Yeah,
which kind of makes sense. You know what I mean? Like
they were clearly focusing on the one character. We were getting introduced to not Mark. We were getting introduced to what was it, Steven? Was that his name?
Yeah.
So like I feel like maybe next episode will be focused on
will be just Mark.
Right, and then in that episode, maybe we won't get those cutaways. We'll actually see more of the violence.
No, I mean, we'll just get Steven's Venom voice.
Episode 3 will probably get
Khonshu, maybe.
Khonshu. I think Khonshu is the voice. Fair.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think we're gonna get Mr. Knight in episode 3, which is like his detective persona.
So Super Tim Tendo makes a good point. He thinks that we're going to get essentially a retelling of episode 1, but from Mark's perspective. So it'll be the opposite. Like the blackouts will be
cool.
when Steven takes over. So yeah, I think that'll be, if they do that actually would be a really good way for the first 2 episodes of giving us kind of everything we want, bringing us fully into this character's story, and
it'll
not
fill in all the gaps.
Exactly,
fill in the gaps that the first one missed.
That's a good suggestion. It's a good guess, Super Nintendo.
It'd be cool if they did that. I don't think they're going to.
Yeah, I mean they want to move this. The thing is, the only problem with that is that it's only 6 episodes, so they have to move the story. They have to keep going, otherwise they're going to run out of time.
I think we get full-blown Moon Knight the whole next episode. In the cape and the gauze and everything like that. I think episode 3 we'll get Mr. Knight, the detective persona. Basically, it's the mask without the hood and the cape, and he wears like a business suit, like an all white on white
right
suit.
Seen the pictures, it looks badass.
And and like in the comics, the way they treat him is like walks around like Batman does a crime scene.
Right.
Very, very similar. So it's, I think it's going to be cool, man. Like I'm really excited. Oscar Isaac is phenomenal in how he's playing this role.
Yep, that's definitely true.
I love this scene towards the end, before they do, the suit reveal, when he's having his multiple conversations in the mirror with his personalities.
Oh yeah.
And like you just see one personality fade away, and like the reflections just become less and less and less until it's just him as Mark and suiting up.
It reminded me of the movie Split, with James McAvoy and his ability to just play these different characters and really feel like he was a different person each time. Oscar Isaac was with only 2 characters, obviously, versus the 23 or whatever that James McAvoy did. But Oscar Isaac pulled it off. I mean, you could like the confidence and the kind of swagger when you were looking at Mark in the reflection was like a whole other person to the nervous Steven that was just kind of stuttering over himself all the time. They had some really funny lines too. I mean, the whole scene when he, when he wakes up in that faraway town, and what the hell's the bad guy? Who's Ethan Hawke's character says something to make everyone bow, and he's just standing there. And he's like, "Oh fuck!" Like he bends down. Like there was a lot of some pretty funny moments. They kind of hit the humor for sure. Dark Roots Creation says, "Yes, loved the mirror scene. Up until that point, I thought it was pretty boring." So she wasn't a big fan. Wow, we all like. Well, you and Scythe seems to. I was.
That's similar. The thing. I wasn't bored. I was just annoyed every time I heard the voice.
I did like.
I mean, I kind of figured they were going to do some sort of internal voice, though.
No, I did too. I figured and I don't care. Like voices are fine,
but the choice of voice.
But it was like him talking down to him, like he's just an idiot all the time, which is basically what the whole Venom movie is.
Yeah.
What I'll assume that we'll get that with the Stephen Grant character. We won't get that with Spectre.
Right, because Mark Spector is capable, so he doesn't need to be treated like shit.
Mark Spector is capable. He's like
Mark's a badass.
Stephen Grant's the personality that everyman personality that they used to hide with.
Buttersworth says that voice is like him talking to his Batman voice, his Christian Bale Batman voice.
So bad.
I do think one thing that I kind of noticed though that I feel like they need to almost like make a standard or make a rule and stick to it is, can the other personalities take over whenever they want, or do they have to be allowed to take over? Because there's the whole point with the Scarab where he's being controlled by one of the personalities without realizing it, but then later on Mark can't just jump into his body and take over. He needs him to give him permission. So it's fine if that happens here and there, but that they have to kind of get consistent or have some sort of through line that makes sense and stick to it.
I think like when, let's say like a terrible action is about to happen to him, that's when it just it's a hard stop. Mark's taking over and protecting the body.
I was going to agree with that, but at the end he has to give him control to save him from being attacked.
The threat wasn't immediate. He was hiding in the bathroom. He was like,
it was pretty fucking immediate.
No, but the dog wasn't in there.
He had an ancient Egyptian dog coming at him. I mean, listen,
he was hiding. He felt.
I think the whole idea is that he's got to give him complete control.
Right.
Get the full thing of the powers. Like he can go over for a short period of time, then because he's fighting it, comes back. Right? You got to give over complete control to Mark, be able to go full Moon Knight. Which
it's possible.
We got to see what they're going to go with this. I think it's darker than anything they've given us
so far.
I'm really excited to see where it goes.
I mean, I'm on board. Episode 1 basically won me over. Any questions or concerns I may have had, I'm fully on board now. I am curious though how much of the violence they're going to show. All the Disney, all the Defender shows are on Disney Plus, and they're all uncensored, just brutal and violent. So clearly, Disney's not afraid to give us that.
I'm seeing a lot of stuff is starting to get pulled and censored.
I saw that there was the Stan Lee tribute in Punisher 2, but otherwise, I didn't see anything else. I've been watching Daredevil, and so far, I haven't noticed anything that's different than
they pulled a whole tribute episode to one of the Luke Cage actors. I forget the guy's name.
They pulled the whole episode,
or maybe the scenes involving him or whatever. I don't know.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I saw it today.
That kind of makes me iffy. I just don't want it doesn't need to be Daredevil violent. I don't need to see him smashing the skull of that thing to a pulp. That's fine. But
I mean, I do, considering the blackouts. We wake up and it's just a bloody massacre.
No,
I want to see.
My point is, we could see him beat the hell out of it. I mean, like Falcon and Winter Soldier had some brutal moments. You know what I mean? With him, with what's called U.S. agent killing that guy with the it had some violent moments that were subdued still for as far as Marvel's concerned. We could see that kind of violence, maybe just at a little bit of a higher level for this character because it just fits him. But I don't think we need to see like Daredevil violence where there's bones jetting through skin and all kinds of like just cuts and fucking blood everywhere.
Agree to disagree.
Super Nintendo says he is violent, so it needs to be. I mean, if they pull that trigger, I'll be more than happy, and I will not complain. But I'm just saying I'm okay if they don't go crazy.
I want all of it.
But again, to me, if this is going to lead into, I can't remember the name. Zuplex, help me out with Blade and Ghost Rider, that whole group. If this is going to lead into that, I want it to be dark and violent.
It's got a couple names like the Nine or Midnight Suns.
Midnight Suns, what I was thinking of, but yeah,
they've renamed it a few times, like not Dark Avenger, some sort of like supernatural thing. I think it's going to lead us towards that. I think we'll know more once. I'm assuming this is like the precursor to all that stuff. So I think we'll know more once Blade happens. Know more once.
Well, I think that's my thing though. This will be the way this handles the violence and the action and fighting a lot of stuff will pretty much give us an idea of what we're going to get with Blade, because Blade's a much more violent character than what we've seen so far. So if they subdue a lot of it and pull it all back, that makes me a little scared that they're going to do the same thing with Blade. And again, I don't need Blade to
Blade's
be
supposed to be a movie,
right? And they can get away with more, but if he's going to be a part of the mainline MCU, they want him to kind of be aesthetically similar to everything else we've gotten.
Yeah, I mean, they've already told us. Feige's been pretty adamant that Deadpool 3 is going to be rated R.
Right. And he's very clearly said that they don't pull the punches with the action and the violence in this show.
Yeah. So we got to wait to see what happens with it. Hopefully they don't have to go over the top.
Right.
Like they can make it more violent than previous installments of certain things, but they don't have to go like, in Tarantino.
Right. Make it grounded. Make it fit.
Yeah. Make it grounded. Make it fit. Makes a little bit more sense. Then we go from there. But as far as like bringing in the supernatural element to the Marvel universe, I think this is I think Moon Knight's a good stepping stone.
I agree. And Dark Roots Creations. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say Dark Roots Creations just said that she read that the next few episodes are supposed to have more horror, which kind of goes hand in hand with what you just said, Carmine, about the supernatural stuff.
Can we all agree that the music selection for Marvel is phenomenal?
They're amazing.
Well, so it's funny. It's fantastic. They really never miss. Whoever they hire to compose, not even compose, just choose the songs, especially since James Gunn took over with the Guardians of the Galaxy, really is just on fire. Steven and I were bopping our heads. We were saying the song they chose during that car chase, like only Marvel can set up an action scene to that "Wake Me Up Before You Go," and then and have us going like bopping our head and not being taken out of the scene at all, and just it was just amazing. It really, really was good. I think they played Big Pimpin' at one point, or a different version of Big Pimpin'. Like,
yeah,
I mean, just on point.
They do so phenomenal.
It's so good. They've always been good at it, even before Guardians, like the original Iron Man.
Yeah,
with all the AC/DC music and stuff like that.
That's
like,
true.
It was a perfect fit for that character.
Yeah, the needle drops are always on point, which is
drops are always on point for Marvel.
And that's not an easy thing for a lot of directors to do.
Oh, it's not, and they spend a lot of money to get these songs. Like we're using Led Zeppelin's "Immigrant Song."
Yeah, yep,
perfect song for that.
What more perfect song is there?
It's still one of the best scenes in the MCU. A lot of it has to do, when he jumps down onto the bridge, and a lot of it has to do with because it's Immigrant Songs playing. It's a callback from the beginning of the movie. There's just so much about it that just works. Dark Goose Creation says the music was great. Wham was perfect for that ice cream truck scene.
It was. It was a perfect song for that.
And Buttersworth says you can never go wrong with Wham. Deadpool got away with it. I think Ethan Hawke in the short amount we saw of him too, like clearly he's having fun and he plays a really good villain. You can just see it. He chews that scenery better than a lot of people.
The beginning of the show, just seeing him step into put the glass in his sandals and walk around, like, what the hell, man? This guy's out of his mind.
Carmine, I meant to ask you, is there any significance behind that?
He's a cult leader. If I've been trying to figure out, did they name him yet in the show?
I don't think so.
I don't know. I feel like they might have said his name in the group when they were all kind of gathered around.
I don't know if that's his real.
Yeah.
They were chanting something, but I guess it was never made clear if it was his name or not.
I'm pretty sure from the comics, if I'm not mistaken, that he winds up being Amun-Ra, the sun god.
Right. Okay.
Like the earthly embodiment of Amun-Ra, the sun god, so that the glass might be the him paying penance or something like that.
Does the sun god check somebody's balance?
Well, no, he said he said in the show that he was working for a newt or whatever, the god of hell, whatever it is, like
yeah.
Or the underworld, sure. The Egyptian god of the underworld, essentially.
They might just be giving us a new Arthur Harrow is in the Moon Knight comics.
Okay. So maybe it's just a new version or a new take on the character.
The Doctor, and then there was a cult leader. I think they're mixing two characters together. They're doing to kind of throw us off a little bit, because Dr. Arthur Marrow in Moon Knight #2. I'm looking it up right now.
So, real quick, Super Timtendo says that it was Ethan Hawke's idea to do the scene where he was stepping into the shoe with the broken glass inside of it. And Buttersworth responded with Ethan Hawke's a great actor, and he, of course, would play a good villain after seeing Uma Thurman's feet.
Yeah, no, Ethan Hawke's awesome.
There's that, and then there's, I'm trying to find it now, is the sun god Amun-Ra. Cult leader. The embodiment that he took over on Earth was that of a cult leader. So I think they're mixing the two together.
Right.
We'll see. We'll have to try and see where this kind of goes to.
I mean, they could always just redo the character anyway, just to fit the show.
That's what I think they're kind of doing.
They've done it before, and in the Marvel movies, they generally make changes that, for the most part, kind of fit well and make sense. So, I mean, again, I don't know the character. I don't know any of his backstory. I don't know any of the comics. So for me, it's a blank slate. You can just do whatever you want, and I'll be into it. So far, I like everything about it.
Yeah.
So far, it's been.
To be perfectly honest, my favorite part of the whole episode was when he missed his date by 2 days. He was sitting there by himself, and he still ordered steak. I mean, you go to a nice restaurant, you might as well get some food. Everyone's got to eat.
He was also a vegan too, so he was all like
very confused.
I mean,
how do you want your steak? Yes, I want it good.
Like, that was, I think, the funniest joke though. How do you want it? Good, yeah, very good. Like, that cracked me up.
Yeah, so I mean, Ethan Hawke characters. I've been looking into it for a little while. I know I'm trying to find the book now, but I can't. Was looking. I had a few copies of the first appearance of Amun-Ra, the sun god, and this, that, and the other thing, and I thought he was going to be that. Looks like they're throwing us a curveball, so we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah.
I have a question. You guys seen the movie The Mummy, right?
Yes.
Is that the same guy, same name?
It's the same. The god in The Mummy is the god of the underworld. So it's Amit or Amut, or I gotta look up the name now.
I thought it was Amun-Ra, but
I'm pretty sure Amun-Ra.
I would also be saying the wrong name completely.
Yeah. See, now you're gonna make me look it up.
Gods are a little.
I'm gonna have to look it up on the offline, and we'll talk about it next week. We'll do some Egyptian god research, and we'll come here next week, educated on the Egyptian ways. So now I feel like I knew I should have played Assassin's Creed Origins.
This is where I was wrong. It's the Sun King. That's the name of the Sun King. God,
okay.
Man.
You let us down.
Yeah.
I did.
You're supposed to be the comic guru. How do you not know these things?
There's only so much knowledge I can keep in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Like 188 Avatar of Ra, not Amun-Ra.
Okay, Ra. Yep. But now this is only episode 1, so we're gonna get a lot more information. I think next episode. Now that I think this episode was really meant to bring us into the, show us the protagonist of the show, which was Steven. And now that he's aware that he has these personalities and whatever, he's a part of this bigger story, we're going to get a lot of answers next week. It's going to be like him in the mirror asking Mark questions while Mark is trying to beat some ass or something. And we're going to get a lot more info. That's my guess. Although I do like Super Nintendo's idea of showing us the first episode. I would love to see, maybe even if it was like something just on Disney Plus, a short or a YouTube thing, if they just filmed the whole episode, but from the other perspective, that'd be sweet. I don't think we're gonna get that, but that'd be sweet.
I did see a recent TV spot with it. Where that he calls Layla, I think her name is.
Yep.
That she's predominantly in the show.
Right. So we'll see her next week for sure.
I'm sure we will. There was a lot of stuff in that most recent. It was like a TV spot that they came up with.
See, I'm trying to avoid the TV spots. I kind of want to go in blind. I feel like this is
I wasn't searching it out. I kind of just saw it. You know what I mean?
I'm avoiding TV spots. I'm also doing that with the Doctor Strange. Like all the little snippets that keep coming out.
Same here. I want to just avoid it and go into it as blind as possible because I feel like Doctor Strange is the kind of thing where you really want to be surprised by what you see. So.
Yeah, unless it's like an official trailer, I'm probably not going to spoil it.
At this point, even if it's a trailer, what's the point? The movie comes out in a month. A month and a half, I guess.
Exactly.
But all right, boys. Is there anything we missed from Moon Knight before we sign off?
I think that basically covers it.
I think we're covered, right?
We really didn't get much in the episode,
Right. I mean, it was really more about just setup, and that's what. They did that phenomenally.
It was the best way.
The introduction.
Yeah.
Everybody should take notes. How Marvel does this. Every time they bring us a new character, or give us like one of these shows, do set up in the best way possible.
Right. But what is the secret? Like, how does, not to start a whole new argument, but like, how does Marvel? How are they the only ones who understand how to set up these characters in a way that gets us invested quickly?
Because they care about the characters.
That's got to be it, right? I mean, they care.
Good answer.
They cast based off of who's best for the role, not just who the big name is at the time. The music choices, like we said, they fit the theme of the show and whatever perfectly. I just feel like you're right. I mean, they just care. They know the characters they're creating movies for, and they care enough to not half-ass it. Everything's thought out. Everything's planned. And you can just see it. And there's a reason. There's a reason why it's just consistently good. Even their worst properties are still better than a lot of other things out there in the cinema side.
Because, like, think about it this way: we're sitting here talking about this show, right? The first episode, and we're all admitting that it was basically all set up.
Right.
We're still all talking about how great it was.
Right.
Minus the Venom voice that
Max
Brett hated so much, but. For the most part, like we're sitting here giving it high praises.
Right.
So like Halo, you're sitting there like, yeah, the first 20 minutes was amazing, and then
it sucks dick.
Yeah. Well, Halo's a good example. So Halo's a good example. They don't care enough about the characters, so they gave us what they think we want to see immediately.
Yeah.
And now
they gave us what fucking Pablo Schreiber wanted to see.
I mean, I'm talking about the action when he still had the helmet on. They gave us what
you
they
might not
thought.
Be wrong though.
See, I get the feeling with Halo, they had a board up and they were like, "What are the things people want to see? We want to see him shoot a gun. We want to see him fight some grunts. We need to see laser sword or energy swords. We need to see the armor, and we need to see whatever." And then they said, "Okay, let's fit all that in the first 30 minutes of episode 1." Whereas with Moon Knight, it's basically these are the points. These are what make the character who he is. These are the story points we want to hit. How do we do that in an organic way that fits? Instead of just saying, let's just jam it all into one episode or one 2-hour movie.
It's going to be one big mystery until the last 30 seconds.
Right.
And you're going to love it.
And you're going to love it. You know what I mean? Because it's more about the performance and the character than actually the action, which is, it's not a bad thing. You know what I mean? We love these characters because of their character. The action is just the icing on the cake, which is what we want. So, but all right, boys.
If you really think about all the Disney Plus shows that they've given us, well acted, even if you didn't like them,
I don't think there's really not one bad Disney Plus show. It's, some are better than others, but
Disney Plus show. But there's stuff that people like more than others. WandaVision, especially, like a lot of people didn't like the first half of that series. They're taking chances doing stuff, different stuff than everybody else, and bring us the characters that we want to see.
They're really taking chances, that's what you want. I don't want to see the same thing over and over again. I want to see new stuff. So
the fact that we're getting a Moon Knight show is insane.
Yeah.
We're all glossing over the fact.
And a well-done Moon Knight show. I mean, this is the kind of character that would have been done, back in the early 2000s when we got Ben Affleck's Daredevil, and they would have made it just trash, just a complete trash. Now we're getting it with the respect it deserves, and we're getting a good show. At least, we're
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
I have a question. I thought, and this is because I don't really know the character, I thought Moon Knight was more of like a Middle Eastern Egyptian superhero.
Well, it's an Egyptian god, I guess. That
Egyptian god that takes him over. So he gets killed. Mark Spector gets killed, and he gets brought back to life by Khonshu. And then he gets the powers from Khonshu, become Moon. But Mark Spector is like a regular businessman.
Isn't Oscar Isaac Egyptian? I gotta look that up now.
I don't know. I mean, listen, even if they change him to an Egyptian guy, doesn't matter. Mark Spector could basically be anybody at this point, and
yeah, I guess it's not really that.
It's still executed perfectly.
It's executed perfectly, and that's all that matters.
I was just unsure of the character's origin location, because when we start watching, he's like, I think he was in Boston or something like that.
I think he was in London. Wasn't he in London?
Oh, London. Yeah,
you're
right.
Yeah.
London. I'm like, I thought this was gonna be in Egypt.
I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this, I know
it'll get there.
Connected to MCU, we're probably gonna see Dane Whitman.
I think so. It'll be like maybe we won't see him, but we'll just see something that connects him to Dane Whitman, or we'll see the Black Sword, the
Ebony Blade.
Yeah, the Ebony Blade. You know what I mean? Maybe we'll see something like that just kind of connects the characters and just shows us going forward in the future we're going to get a combination somehow.
Yeah.
But all right, we're going to go because I feel like crap and I want to sign off. However, I got two announcements. One is there's been a leak that we're going to see the next time we're going to see Kingpin and Daredevil in full MCU capacity and in a much larger role is in the Echo show. Apparently it's a really strong rumor. I just read about it today, but so the plan's already in place to bring them back, and they already know when it's going to happen. So right now, 90% it's going to be.
You said they're going to bring in Daredevil with him.
Well, so Kingpin is basically going to be the main villain of her show, and obviously Daredevil is connected. So yeah, either they said he's going to have a much bigger role and kind of get his full official kind of intro into the MCU. But gotcha. It's a rumor. They didn't give out much other details. So
Daredevil trains her,
right? In the comics, he trains her. So I'm assuming that's what we're gonna get. Maybe she goes at it with Kingpin for a while, runs seeks out somebody who had some dealing with him and learns. You know what I mean? Super Tim Tendo said Oscar Isaac is Jewish American, which makes sense. I looked it up too. He's born in Guatemala, so I was way off. What'd you say, Zuplex?
Probably get the blind in one eye Kingpin too.
Good. Anything to make him more badass. The other announcement. I gotta put this out there because I don't feel like it's getting enough love. The Last Dragon is streaming right now on HBO Max, and if you're a martial arts fan or an '80s movies fan, or just respect anything I say, please go watch The Last Dragon on HBO Max. It's a phenomenal movie. Brings me back to my childhood, and if you're not bopping your head, speaking of music, while you're watching that movie, you got problems. If you're a Busta Rhymes fan, you got to go watch The Last Dragon. Not that he's in it, but he does a Last Dragon parody in one of his music videos for Dangerous. So, yeah. So those
are a Gordy Berry original.
Hell yeah, that's a great movie too. So those are all the announcements. Just thank you guys for jumping into the chat. Thank you, boys, for keeping up with the shows. One Shot in particular. Thank you for watching Halo and Moon Knight. I want to expect this from you every week, but I don't know if I can.
Did anyone see Morbius yet?
No, not yet. I want to, but I also don't want to because Venom sucks. So Morbius is probably going to suck too. I've been saying, you guys have fought me, but I've been saying that not Steven, but Morbius has not looked good. Besides maybe the very first trailer, it just hasn't looked good.
Anybody's fighting you on this.
Well, I know Scythe was fighting me on it for a while.
I thought it looked all right in the trailers for sure.
I don't know. I never was convinced when
they started showing
the
audience overall is liking it more.
And and to be perfectly honest, my uncle went and saw it, and he actually loved it. He thought it was super duper enjoyable. He loved everything about it. So, we'll make our own decisions when we go see it. But
the audience score is always higher than the critic score, anyway.
Yeah. But all right, boys.
The critic score is really low.
Yeah, when the critic score is 20, it's not that hard for the audience score to be better. So keep an eye out for the replay of this Theater Room Podcast episode 36. It'll go up on YouTube probably Thursday morning, and next week we'll be back here on Tuesday talking about Moon Knight episode 2, maybe talking about Halo episode 3, or probably talking about that, and then maybe it'll end after that if it's garbage. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, the whole nine.